Welcome, fellow model railroaders, to my latest DCC install on a Kato, as you've seen from the title already, a Kato or Kato GP-35 HO scale. And these are all the goodies I'm going to stick in there. I've got a TDS mini speaker and enclosure. Whoops, I got two speakers there. There we go. A speaker and an enclosure. I have a Decoder Buddy from NixTrains Tsunami 2 for EMD diesels, and a TCS Keep Alive. And I've got to fit them all in there. And the first thing I'm going to need to do, get these out of the way, after I get these out of the way, I should say. Oh, and I've got LEDs over here too. Got to stick them in there. I'm sure this has incandescent bulbs. This is, by the way, a locomotive from the first batch of Kato GP-35s back around 1990. At the time I had a hobby shop, and I used to take a lot of new products off the shelf and give them a try. And because I like the Erie Lackawanna colors, I thought, well, why don't I do an undecorated one in EL? And so before Kato released one, I did this engine in my favorite railroad paint scheme. So once I get the couplers out, I'll be able to get the shell off the chassis. I think it's just some plastic tabs at the corners of the shell, and I feel it loosening. There we go. I know you want to come apart. Come on. There we go. Now we're going to have to lose that weight. I don't like to lose weight on my trains, but sometimes that has to happen. So we have a lot of space for speakers. Probably back here for the speaker. And oh, I was going to mention the Decoder Buddy, and this is a 21-pin Tsunami 2 to go into the 21-pin Decoder Buddy here. And if you've seen any of my other videos on DCC sound installations, I like the Decoder Buddies. It gives me a nice method to attach my lighting functions via the daughter board here. The light and auxiliary functions go on these tabs around here. You'll see more of that as I start wiring it up. But this allows me to make it a lot simpler to, at least in my opinion, to wire up the lights. And I'm not a big fan of other light functions. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Unlike most of my installations, this engine's been sitting on my display shelf for probably 30 years. So I did test it out, and I'll show that video just to check and make sure everything was okay. I will probably, as I go along, at least I'm planning to check the lubrication on the gears. Things may have dried up a little bit. But as you can see in the video, it's running just nice and smooth the way you would expect a Kato engine to run. Can I? I'm gonna figure out why these don't want to come out. There we go. They're always so difficult. I know there's a little tab underneath there that goes into a little indentation on the board. There it is. See the hole right there? Now, I just have the motor leads to get out. There we go. Alright, get rid of that board. I think that can go in the wastebasket. Okay. So now, Decoder Buddy. Let's go. And I'm going to keep this handy so that I can refer to the diagram sheet. Let's see. So the daughter board is here. No, it isn't. Wait a minute. No, that's the 8-pin connector for the daughter board. Where's the daughter board? Here it is. All right. So I'm trying to remember. It's been a couple of months since I've done one of these. So these are the positive pads, soldering pads. This is the rear light and the front light. Auxiliary 0 front, auxiliary 0 rear. And the blue wires, red or blue wires, go here, or across the top, or across the bottom. You can go either way. Okay, move on. Decoder Buddy, where'd you go? Oh, over here. I lost my buddy. Now this has holes in it, but not holes for that. Okay. So I think what I will do is I will cut off these two pads on the top. Give me a little bit more vertical clearance. I'm going to need to stretch these wires to get up to there. And yeah. And then my motor leads are going to go here and here. And I'm trying to remember the other pads. There's the Keep Alive. Excuse my reach. The Keep Alive is, I think, down here. Two of these down here. Obviously the positive is the blue wire. Either that or that. And I don't remember which one is the Keep Alive. But I'll look it up and do it right the first time, I hope. And then, as you can see, our speaker leads are here and here, or here and here. Okay, while you guys were away, I've been working hard here. You can see I've got the Decoder Buddy installed. I cut down the tabs on the motor, and I used some, I think that is Gorilla Glue, tacky stuff, sticky stuff, and held that in place with that. I have extended the truck pickups a little bit to come up to the board. I have run the motor leads wires, and I always forget which the orange goes on the top brush and the gray goes on the bottom. I think that's the way I did it. If it's backwards, all I have to do is swap those two, or I can swap the pickup red to black, black to red. But I think I have it right. You can see I've removed the daughter board. It's right there. That allows me to get at these two pads right there. And where am I going to put the speaker? I'm going to put it in the rear. You can see I marked it front. I think I'm going to put the speaker right there. We'll see. Worry about the speaker later. Right now, I want to take this over. Oh, I want to take the contact protectors off. And where's my decoder? I'm going to go over and I'm going to test my decoder and make sure it's going backwards and forwards before I go any further. What I like to do is check every stage the decoder is working. Is it going forwards and backwards? If I got the polarities correct. And then the next step after that will be to mount the speaker and test the sound And then, let's see, last I guess would be the lights. Let's get the decoder out of the bag. Don't let the cat out of the bag, but we will let the decoder out. There we be. And, oh gosh, it goes this way, I think. It'll only go in the right way. That makes sense, doesn't it? It'll only go in one way. If you look, there's no tab on that side. And there's no hole right there, so it's going to have to go this way. So when it's all the way in, the pins are going to stick up a little bit above. Okay, I'm going to leave off the daughter board and I'm going to go test it. Be right back, don't go away. Alright, it turns out that I did wire these backwards. So I should have put the orange on the bottom. So I'm just going to swap these contacts. Okay. Alright, I'm going to test it again. Okay, now when I tell it to go forward, it goes forward. And when I tell it to go backwards, it goes backwards. That's what I want. Speaker is going to go in here. So let's get the speaker wired up. There's our enclosure. That's an enclosure. So this must be the speaker. I haven't checked the amount of space. Oh, I'm going to have to do some... I was looking at the shell. Speaking of space. I know we haven't got to the lights yet, but I noticed that these have light bars on the shell right here. So I'm going to have to cut this back and cut this one back too. That'll give me a lot more room back up in here. Am I showing it to you? So I'll cut these back. Give me more room back up in here and take these pins out of here, mounting pins. And right now what I'm thinking about doing is using an SMD LED. I haven't used... Have I used one before? I don't think I've used one. Surface mount LED. And I will have to glue it right to the plastic light bar. But that's a ways down the line. Speaker. Here's my speaker housing. There's the speaker. Let's get the enclosure enclosed here. These are sometimes a joy to get together. There we go. All I was doing was pushing out on the extension piece. There we go. Nice and tight. And I think what tends to happen with these is the sides bend towards the middle like this, and it can be very difficult to get the speakers down in there. See, it'll slide in the corners and the ends, but it has to go in. Don't know if you can see it, but it has to go in equally at each end. There we go. I think I got it. I think I can't. It's a little crooked. There we go. Can you see it? It's still sticking up a little bit. I'm sliding it down in. There we go. I try not to push on the speaker itself, the metal part. Yeah. Okay. Now I need to tin the contacts and hook up the wires to it. It's really hot. I'm on the 3rd floor. My workshop is on the 3rd floor of my house, and it gets really hot up here in the summertime. And I am baking. I'm going to tin the contacts. I don't know if you can hear it. I've got a fan going in the background here too. It's blowing right on me, and my head is sweating really badly. So I'm wearing a magnifier. Okay, solder. A hot thing. Clean the tip. Oh, I forgot. There we go. The magnet will attach to the soldering tip. Okay, there's our speaker wired up. Check my connections. I want to make sure that the wires are not contacting the speaker here. They're just contacting the contact. Okay. This one looks a little bit suspect. Just barely. It appears to be good, but I don't like it. I'm going to do that one over. Do over. It looks like there's only one strand that's contacting it. I'm going to shorten the tip a little bit too. You know, I notice I'm using white wire. I tend to go through a lot of purple wire for speakers, and I find that if I use other colors, it just makes it so I'm not using purple all the time. Alright, before I go any further, I'd better check the depth of that. So I have a dial caliper right here. And that doesn't quite get the contacts, but that gets the whole speaker. Yeah, well. Yep. Looks good. If I take those mounting posts out of there, I'll have room. Which is quite a bit. Wow, that's a lot of space, isn't it? When you consider that how much higher this is than the decoder. And what I like to do when I'm making speaker wires is, you see I made a loop. I have just cut it right here and then mount it in. I'm not sure if I think I'll probably put it in this way and give me more surface to mount it to. And I've got enough wire, okay. I always cut wire too short, so I'm going to add a couple of millimeters. And there's a little bit of white left over. Tin up my speaker wires. It doesn't want to stick very well. Okay. Double check my joints. Alright, we're just going to test it. So I have programmed it already to the engine number 2557. And I push the bell button, it doesn't do anything. Why did it kill the engine? Houston, we got a problem. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, we have noise. It might not be the right noise. It's a 567 non-turbocharged, I believe. That's standard out of the box. And since it's a GP35, we're going to have to program it to a different prime mover. But for right now, it works. I'm going to take it back over to the workbench and we'll hook up some other goodies. What's going to be next? I think everything on the daughter board now. The Keep Alive and the headlights are the next steps. And they all go to the daughter board. Alright, one thing I'm going to say right here, be very careful. All these electrical connections are potential spots for you to create a short. Don't ask me how I know. Especially when you have a Keep Alive in circuit, and I don't yet, but when I pick this up, there's still current running through it, even for, you know, a couple of seconds, and I have shorted out decoders before by touching the board, so be very careful. Okay, the Keep Alive goes to U2 or U plus and ground. So blue goes to the U plus, which is this one here, and black goes to the one next to it. Blue goes to U plus, which is the second one over, and black goes to the one next door, ground. So we should have a Keep Alive in just a second here. I'm going to shorten that up. And by the way, there we go. I got that information from the instructions right on the back here. A 2-wire stay alive is attached to U plus and ground. There we go. I don't know if you noticed, but the little blue LED was still flashing. It was still lit, and it's been about a minute since I walked over from the test track. Okay, the Keep Alive works. So far everything's working. Alright, the next stage is going to involve cutting cutting the light bars, and I thought I was just going to reach in with these cutters and snip that off. I am not going to get in there. I don't really want to remove either end because the number boards are all done, lettered, decaled. If I pull them out, it's probably going to rip them. If I got another pair of cutters that'll reach in there. Ooh, so close. I think. I don't know if I can get this so you can see, but I just barely get, yeah, not enough to cut it. Maybe. Watch out. Did it hit you? me see up in there now. Let's get those out of the way. Don't need those. Now what I'm going to do, I don't know, the cut edge looks pretty close. It's pretty smooth. But I find if you take a warm soldering iron, not hot, and just melt the clear plastic, it gets rid of a lot of the unevenness and roughness, I guess. Makes the plastic clearer. Just turn the soldering iron up a little bit more. Also helps to get the solder off the tip, but it doesn't want to leave. Hang on. Okay, what I'm trying to do is melt the clear plastic just a little bit so that there's no more rough edges to it. So it's going to be nice and smooth and clear. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, so our headlight looks pretty good. Now I was going to use regular LEDs, but I don't know if you can see, but there are two SMD surface mount diode LEDs sitting right here. And what I'm going to do now is, let's see, which should I do first? Glue these in place or solder them to the daughter board? What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Which should I do? You're going to find out in a second which one I did do, but what do you think I should have done? I'm trying to twist these wires together. I find it's easier, a little neater, shall we say, not easier, neater, if the wires are twisted together. But these don't, they're so small. Now, as you can see here, we have the daughter board right here. There's our rear light. Black wire is going to go to that pad right there. Now, good luck trying to strip these little babies. Now you can see I've already tinned the pads that I want to mount these to. One, come on. I want to try to keep it away from the black wire pad. All the other pads here on the top are for the red wire, positive. Come on. So any of these pads on the top are okay. Didn't get it. Come on. Got it that time. Alright. This is the rear light. Now the headlight. I was having problems getting these wires to solder to the pads, and I think my problem was that these wires are not pre-tinned, so I needed to tin them, and yeah, it was going pretty hard. These are now really nicely soldered in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to take the chassis over and I'm going to test the lights, make sure they're working before I attach them to the shell. And I've actually got back, just so you're aware, this is the front. That's the rear, that's the front. Okay. Test track. Be right back. Alright, everything is working. Headlights are working, sound's working. Keep Alive is working, and if you notice, the blue light is still on in the decoder, so there's still power to the decoder. I'm not going to touch anything while that light is still on. It's going out, it's gone. Okay. So now, what I want to do is glue the LEDs to the headlights. And then, I guess the next or last step to the installation process is going to be deciding where am I going to put this? I have more room back here. I can put it there. Okay, so let's get the daughter board off of here. I hope the power, yeah, the light's all gone. Come on, daughter board. Let's go. Let's go. There we go. Okay, I can get this right out of the way. Why do I even have the wire strippers here? Bring the shell up to the front. And I want this. Now, question is, did I allow myself enough wire here? So I'm going to need to glue this one up to there. And I guess I'm going to use super glue. So, a bottle of super glue. All right, I finally got it in. The light down in this end, I could not get the super glue to cure. So I finally used some of that glue that dries clear. It's light curing stuff. It's called Bondic. So that's in place. The front one's in place. And here's our little daughter board. And somehow I need to get that daughter board onto the motherboard. Can we get everybody in? No, because the backup light is caught. Mounting tabs. I'm not sure the Keep Alive can stay where it is. Okay. Good enough to test the lights. Alright, right now it's set for reverse. I'll put it forward, hit the bell, notice the headlight. Change direction. Oh, that's bright. And don't know if you can see it on my hand, but the backup light is on. Let's put it forward. Wow. Beautiful. That is really bright. What other noises do we want to make? Acceleration noises? Alright, what's left? Two more major steps. Program the decoder. We could do that now. We could do it later. Let's do it later. So the next step is to make everything, how do they say that? Put 10 pounds of dirt into a 5-gallon bucket, something like that. That's the next step. I don't think that the Keep Alive is going to work up here. I think it's too far forward, so I'm probably going to have to move it back by the speaker, which means I'm going to have to stretch the wires because they're not long enough to go back there. Okay, back to the workbench. Remember, it's a hobby. This is all fun. I like doing this, I think. As you can see, I put the Keep Alive back here by the speaker. I had to extend the wires a little bit. And now I'm ready to put the shell together and hopefully everything will fit. Now you'll notice I put in 3 1/4 ounce weights on the top of the shell. That's because to hopefully make up some of the weight lost from the weight in the unit. I checked it. This is 2 ounces right here. So 3/4 of an ounce isn't going to make that big a difference, but it'll make a difference. Let's see if we can stuff it all back in. Making a sausage here. Okay. And by the way, I did check with a dial caliper. I checked the depth to the highest right there. And I've still got 1/8 of an inch clearance. So we're clear, Clarence. Sorry, I hit the camera. Alright, let's see if we can stuff it all back in now. I guess. Let's take it over and test it. I know I'm going to have to take it apart and look at that problem some more. But let's test it for now and see if she's working. Okay, backup light works. I don't know if the wheels are all in the saddles or not. Let's give it a try. Yeah, it's trying to sneak out. I don't think it's settled in there right. Okay. Alright, so loud enough. headlight works. Huh. Something else that's good is that the lights are not bleeding through the shell. So now, let's, while we got it here, let's program the CVs for this decoder. I'll be right back just a second. Okay, I have a list of CVs that I use. I also need to set the basic CVs for the, let's just have a 567 turbocharged engine. So 567 turbo, CV123. Hopefully I'll remember to put these in the description down below. The description, whatever, of the description of the video. So CV123, enter. 567 turbo is value 2. Alright. The air horn, I don't know which one we have in here, but let's go with a Nathan K3. Alright. So the air horn selection rend is 120. Nathan K3 is a value of 2. Prime mover, master volume, yeah, we'll do those. Alright, now, I like to program brake squeal into my engines, so I'm going to do CV198, 198, and I'm going to give that a value of 12. I'm going to do CV196 to 5, 196, give it a value of 5. It's right now 3. And I like to put a little bit of momentum on acceleration. I like to put, that's CV number 3. I like to put a value of 40. And deceleration, I like to put, oh, that's CV4. I like to put a value that's half of that number, so 20. Now, what else was I going to do? I want to do the volume, and another thing with Soundtraxx decoders, you can program them so that the bell would come on automatically when you blow the horn, and I like to do that. So that's CV122. And what you do is you add a value which is 128 more than what it's currently set at. This is set at 17. And I don't want that. I'm going to put an EMD slow bell in it. So I'm going to put 129. 1, 2, 9, enter. Now, volume. It seemed a little bit loud to me, so let's check the master volume. It's 128. Oop, wrong number. 128. Too high. I'm waiting. Set at 192. I'm going to lower it to 100. Just try it out. And the horn and bell, well, let's see how it sounds now that I set the master volume down a little bit. Let's see how it sounds. So let's get out of programming and see how it sounds. And it definitely has a turbocharger. The bell's not too loud. You hear the bell came on. And it shuts off. Definitely a turbocharged engine. It's brake squeal. I can adjust that volume. Let's see, brake squeal is... Oh. Brake squeal volume, come on. CV139. I might adjust that down. I just like to have it real subtle. So let's set 139 down a bit. Enter. I'll double check just so I don't mess up some other setting. Yep. 139, that's set, it's 100. I'm going to knock that down to 60, I think. Some of them I have set lower. See how it sounds. Okay, bell works, let's go. Yeah, it's okay. It could go a little lower, but that's fine for now. I need to take it back over to the workbench and figure out what's going on with the back of the shell here. So let's go back. Okay, as you can see, I've got the couplers in place. These don't have screws, they have pins back in the 90s. And it's now all together. I figured out why the shell wouldn't sit down in place. There was a drop of, where'd I put it? There it is right there. There was a drop of solder along the sill on one side or the other, I don't know. And that's what was preventing it from snapping into place. So there she is. She's all back together again. And this is going to be great to run. I haven't run this engine in probably 30 years or more. It's great to get the sound decoder in it, and it's going to be fantastic to run it. Where do I have a brush here? It's really dusty. It's going to be fantastic to run it. And whoops, sorry, I hit the camera. And thank you for watching the video. By the way, if you've gotten this far, thank you for sticking with it, and I hope you learned something. I hope you gained some information, and I hope you have fun with your model trains. And yeah, if you got this far, please leave a thumbs up down below. If you have any suggestions or comments or questions, you can leave them down below too. Take care out there, and I hope you have a lot of fun with your model trains. Bye-bye for now.